Once upon a time, in a remote village nestled high in the hills, there lived a man named Rogov and his young son, Aryan. Life in the hills was beautiful but often harsh, with days when food was scarce and the rivers ran low. One evening, after days without a proper meal, Rogov and Aryan found themselves weak from hunger and thirst. They decided to venture to a hidden river deep in the forest, known only to a few. The river, fed by the melting snow from the peaks, was said to be teeming with fish, but reaching it was no easy task. The journey to the river was long and treacherous. As they climbed higher and higher, the air grew colder and the path narrower. The sun was setting, casting long shadows across the land, and the sound of rustling leaves filled the air. Aryan held his father's hand tightly, fear creeping into his heart. Finally, after hours of walking, they reached the river. The water was crystal clear, flowing gently over smooth stones. They could see the fish darting about, glinting in the moonlight. Rogov knew this was their only chance to catch something to eat. He quickly fashioned a makeshift fishing rod from a sturdy branch and some twine he had brought along. They waited patiently, every minute feeling like an eternity. The moon rose high, casting a silver glow over the river, making the scene almost magical. Yet, the hunger gnawed at their bellies, a constant reminder of their desperation. As the night grew darker, Rogov felt a tug on the line. His heart raced as he began to pull. Aryan watched with wide eyes, hope flickering in the depths of his hunger. But just as the fish broke the surface of the water, there was a loud crack from the forest behind them. Rogov froze, his eyes scanning the darkness. The sound came again, closer this time. A low growl echoed through the trees, and Rogov knew they were not alone. He glanced at Aryan, who was trembling with fear. With a swift movement, Rogov grabbed the fish and pulled it out of the water. But before they could rejoice, the growling grew louder, more menacing. They turned to see a pair of glowing eyes staring at them from the shadows. Their hearts pounded as they realized the danger they were in. The fish, their only hope, slipped from Rogov's hands and flopped back into the water. They were so close, yet so far from escaping their plight. Without a second thought, Rogov scooped Aryan into his arms and ran. The growling beast gave chase, its footsteps pounding through the forest. The father and son sprinted through the trees, the cold night air stinging their faces, but they didn't stop. Just as they thought all hope was lost, they stumbled upon a small cave hidden among the rocks. Rogov ducked inside, pulling Aryan close to him. The growling beast stopped at the entrance, sniffing the air, its eyes gleaming with hunger. They held their breath, praying the creature would lose interest. After what felt like an eternity, the beast turned and disappeared into the forest, its growls fading into the distance. Rogov and Aryan collapsed to the ground, exhausted and trembling. They had escaped the beast, but their hunger and thirst remained. The river, so full of promise, now felt like a distant memory. As they sat in the darkness of the cave, Rogov wrapped his arms around Aryan, trying to keep him warm. The night was long, and the hills were unforgiving, but they had each other. And in that moment, even with empty stomachs and parched throats, they found a glimmer of hope in the bond they shared. The story of their night by the river would become one they would never forget, a tale of hunger, fear, and the unbreakable bond between a father and his son.